Downstacking in PPT is an often overlooked skill which many people fail to learn. This video aims to fix that. Puyo Tetris is a Tetris game created by Sega. Being an official game, it means that there are certain mechanics it must conform to. These mechanics include, but are not limited to, line clear delay, fixed DAS and ARR, a linear combo table, no back-to-back chaining, and partial garbage offsetting. Because of these mechanics, a different approach than other games is required to do well in PPT. In order to find this approach, one must examine the unique aspects of PPT gameplay. Because PPT doesn't allow the player to play as fast as they want, downstacking is more so a race against the clock than in other games, where you can just simply start playing faster. This results in two skills being important: the optimization of line clear delay and sending lines while downstacking. While these two things may seem complicated, I broke them down into their basic parts and then built them back up into 3 different approaches you can take in the downstack. These 3 creatively named approaches are making effective line clears, doing back-to-backs, and doing combos. The first, and likely simplest approach, is to make more effective line clears when downstacking. For example, instead of clearing a single into a double, simply do a triple. The pros of this method are, it's easy to implement and easy for beginners to use. It's the most reliable way to downstack, and lastly, it's among the quickest ways to downstack. Some of the cons of this method are, since it doesn't use a combo or back-to-backs, it's ineffective in sending garbage. And also, it's easy for the opponent when on offense to outpressure the downstacker. The next, and likely most difficult approach, is to maintain back-to-back while downstacking. The most common way to do this is through counting to 4, building a Tetris that opens the well, and simple T-spin setups. After the pros and cons section, I will also mention some important setups you should know to effectively use this method. With that said, the pros of this approach are, it sends a large amount of damage, and it's very difficult for your opponent to outpressure you while you're doing this. The cons of this approach are, it's difficult to get back-to-back in the downstack without blocking the garbage well. The soft drops needed for T-spins can make this approach slow to execute, and it makes the downstacker susceptible to committing to greedy sequences. Here are some important setups to know when using this approach. These setups are good because they're clean and require no more than 2 T or I pieces at a time to execute. Our first one is counting to 4. This approach is when a player builds up line clears from a small combo into a Tetris that also clears up a well. Our next approach is the TSS into a Tetris. Similar to counting to 4, this approach forgoes a TSD to preserve a well that is taller than 4 rows. A cut copy is when a player builds a T-spin double on top of another T-spin double. Counting to 5 is when a player builds a T-spin double on top of a Tetris. A C-spin is a T-spin triple setup that makes a T-spin double when the T-spin triple is cleared. Useful when the T-spin double is also on top of a Tetris. A prophecy setup is when a player builds the overhang for a T-spin that will be completed after clearing lines. The third approach is simply doing combos. When attempting to do this approach, it's important to remember that if there isn't a combo above 4, it's simply not worth going for. Also, it's not worth mentioning the pros and cons for this method because it's objectively the best way to downstack. The only drawback to this approach is that it's highly reliant on RNG to work. Some players might try to mitigate this unreliability by stacking high around the garbage in hopes of getting a combo that downstacks through. While a considerably more reliable method of getting combos, it is far riskier than simply doing combos through the garbage due to the player needing to commit to not downstacking for the time it takes to stack around the garbage. This approach is sometimes referred to as power stacking. The most effective way to use these 3 downstack methods is through mixing and matching them according to the situation. That is why it's also important to know when to use each approach. When deciding what downstack approach to take, there are a few variables that must be considered in order to make the correct decision. These variables are the board height, how messy the garbage is, and whether or not there is a combo. The board height dictates how quickly the player needs to downstack. This makes approaches 1 and 3 the best for this since they are the quickest. How messy the garbage is both reduces the urgency of downstacking and gives greater opportunity to send attacks, making downstack method 2 the best for clean garbage. Downstack method 1 can also be used on semi-clean or clean garbage if the queue is not favorable to back-to-back. Lastly, whether or not there exists a combo is expectedly used in determining whether or not to use Downstack method 3. Since Downstack method 3 is the best, if there is a combo, doing the combo should take priority over all else. Let's examine some scenarios where downstacking was necessary. I will explain in detail each approach that was used and why they were used. Alright, in this first clip, I used the first downstack method here in my match versus Emmy. Let's examine my board. I had 11 lines of garbage. My garbage was semi-clean, meaning there were no Tetrises available, but also my garbage wasn't completely cheese. My stack plus my garbage put me at line 15. I was unable to spot a combo, and my queue was not favorable to back-to-back. This is why downstack method number 1 was optimal in this situation. For this second clip, 321 Mr. Hats used the third downstacking method in a swap match versus Det Mr. Hats had 7 lines worth of garbage. His garbage was semi-clean, though he had no eyepiece ready for the clean well of garbage. His stack and his garbage put him at line 11. Hats spotted a combo above 4. This is why downstack method 3 was the best choice here. In this third clip, Kazu uses back-to-backs to downstack in his match versus Flare. This is the second downstacking method. Kazu had 6 lines of clean garbage. His garbage and stack put him at line 15. He didn't have a long combo, and his queue is favorable to back-to-backs. This is why Kazu used the second approach to downstacking here. In this fourth clip, Jaden used the first method of downstacking against me. Jaden had 11 lines of semi-clean garbage. Her board and stack put her at line 15, and she saw no combo above 4. In this fifth clip, again in my set versus Amy for Bankai League, Amy used the second downstacking method. Amy had 8 lines of clean garbage. Her stacking garbage put her at line 13. She didn't have a combo above 4 ready, and her queue is favorable to back-to-back. These variables are why Amy chose downstack method 2. In this sixth and final clip, I got a downstack combo in my Puyo v Tetris match against S-Tool Softener. I had 17 lines of messy garbage. My stack and garbage put me at line 19, and I had spotted a combo. Me seeing a combo took priority over all else, which is why I chose to use downstack method 3. Timing is deliberately waiting for an opponent to make an action before clearing lines. This is done to benefit the player that is timing. In order to utilize timing properly, one must be proficient in watching the opponent's board in order to know when to time. Furthermore, one must also know what approach to timing is beneficial in a given situation. Timing is beneficial to use in the downstack because when downstacking, you often have little control over the pacing of the match. Timing helps put that control back in your hands. The following are different ways timing can be used in the downstack. Waiting to cancel is a timing strategy involving waiting for the opponent to put damage in the garbage queue so that the incoming attack can be cancelled. In this clip, Gigawatt Gaming is at the top of his board and has a teaspoon double set up. In order to survive, he waits for his opponent to send their attack so that he can cancel it. Waiting to accept garbage is often used offensively and can put the opponent in a vulnerable situation, thereby giving the user an opening to attack. When used for offense, waiting to accept garbage is useful in preventing the opponent from canceling attacks. This makes spikes especially more potent in the downstack, giving one the ability to end the match with a good combo. In this clip, I'm ready to send the downstack to my opponent, but I notice they have a T-spin double ready. Because of this, I choose to accept the garbage from the T-spin double in order to send a more potent spike. Accepting garbage can also be used to extend the downstack combo. As mentioned in part 1, PPT is a game with partial garbage offsetting. This means that if there is garbage queued up and the player makes a line clear that doesn't clear the garbage, it will be sent immediately after the line is cleared and not at the end of the combo. In this clip, Gigawatt Gaming is waiting to accept garbage so that he can extend his combo to a 12. It is worth noting though that Giga stalled too long to try and get a combo, therefore reducing the spiking power of his downstack. In real games, there is no need to wait that long. Due to the effectiveness of timing, the opponent will sometimes try to use it against you. This is why it is important to know the counterplays to timing. If the opponent is waiting to accept garbage so that they can cancel it, it's important to stall so that the opponent is forced to send the attack and the attack can be accepted. If the opponent is waiting so that they can accept an attack, stall so that the opponent is forced to send the attack so that it can be cancelled. While stalling, a bigger attack can optionally be made. This also applies to when the opponent is stalling to extend the downstack, but be aware of how much combo the opponent has left. With these things in mind, it's now important to know how to practice downstacking. There are a few ways one can practice downstacking, and while all three are effective, it's important to remember not to do only one of them. 100-line cheese race. This practice method is just the cheese race mode in Tetris. There are 2 methods someone can practice with this mode, and both practice methods achieve different things. These things are slow cheese, trying to get the lowest pace count, and fast cheese, trying to get the fastest time. Playing cheese slowly practices reading cue and visualizing line clears, while fast cheese practices familiarity with patterns in the downstack. Bot practice. This method involves playing against a bot instead of an opponent. Of course, playing against a human is also beneficial, but bots are always available as a practice method. Also, bots will force the player to downstack more compared to playing against humans, especially Tetris due to it using combos more frequently than other bots. The most commonly used bots are Cold Clear and Misamino/Tetris. Cold Clear is available to be practiced against on Tetris, PPT, and the Cold Clear standalone client. Misamino or Tetris can be practiced against on Tetris, PPT1, PPT2, and the Misamino standalone client. When deciding how fast to make the bots, I recommend not starting out playing piece for piece and instead make the bot play slower than you. Set the bot to a speed where you can take some games off of it, but it is still challenging with long rounds. As you improve, gradually speed up the speed of the bot to either faster than you or piece for piece. Bot practice helps the player build in-game sense for when it is important to downstack, as well as giving experience and screen watching. VOD reviewing. VOD reviews are a good way to spot the bad habits and learn from another player's good habits. Reviewing gameplay works well in conjunction with bot practice, as it is a very easy way to get gameplay of yourself. Some players I recommend watching for VOD reviews are Kazu and Flare, as they are the most efficient players at the time of this video. The links to their channels will be in the description. VOD reviewing helps all skills. I hope this guide was helpful for you in improving your downstacking. If you have any questions or want to discuss the guide, the link to my Discord server is in the description. Thank you for watching, and make sure you like and subscribe for more videos like this.